What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Pour. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Brian.
And we've got to wondering what's going on at Buffalo Trace. It's been super interesting to follow. You know, both of us we're fans of Buffalo Trace. Who isn't?
Right.
Do we kind of get a little tired of some of the antics that go around with it? Sure. But what we have noticed is that a lot more of their standard offerings and special offerings are becoming available in the gift shop. So Brian, I noticed this summer that it started for me, the first I noticed it, this summer Weller Special Reserve started to be offered in addition to like the daily core offering. So,
right.
You know, what is it they offer? It's
your E.H. Taylor small batch, Blanton's, Weller,
Eagle Rare. Eagle Rare. And then Buffalo Trace is there every day, and so is Sazerac Rye.
Right. No,
so, which really,
stuff like that.
You go back a couple of years ago, and Sazerac Rye used to only be available in that rotation, and then it became available every day. Well, now Weller, it seems like, is always in addition to other bottles, doesn't have its own dedicated day. Then this fall, I noticed that the single oak project that they sometimes come out with, those were popping up.
Right.
I thought, okay, you know.
Maybe that happens. That happens over the years.
Right. But it used to be like, if you follow Buffalo Trace Daily, which you should, we'll put a link to their page into the website in the description. They'll post the odds on favorite, and single oak was always like under 1%.
Right.
And now it's like, I don't know, I've seen it probably 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the last couple of months. Now it's even hit a different gear, Brian. Rare bottles. What's the one we saw the other day? Was
the CY what is it? CYPD? I always say it wrong. CYPB.
Craft Your Perfect Bourbon.
Yeah. Then the single barrel. They did some foolproof offerings that were like in a gift set.
Yeah.
But still, it's foolproof that they were throwing out there.
Yeah.
And then
and that's not unusual around the holidays. Sometimes they'll do those gift sets, but this is more than that.
All right. Right.
You don't see CYPB anywhere. I've only seen one bottle here ever.
Right.
And then, you know, I've got them written down. I went through the Buffalo Trace Daily Facebook group. You should join that group too. E.H. Taylor Single Barrel and Barrel Proof Rye have been available lately. Stag. Elmer T. Lee, the 100th anniversary bottle, 100th birthday bottle. Heck, that bottle was first released like over 10 years ago, and they just found a pallet of it, I guess, put it out. And then Blanton Straight from the Barrel, and then some of their experimental series have been available. So,
which that just was like in the last 2 weeks. They did that experimental series.
Yeah. So, what's going on? Do you have any ideas why we're seeing this happen? I know a lot of people talked about the Bourbon boom busting, but it's booming at Buffalo Trace.
Right. Are they worried about losing people just because they're not? I can only get Blanton's there, or I can only get Eagle Rare, and I can only get it once every 3 months.
People are not excited about it.
They're not excited about it, so I think that from an excitement point, they probably did that. But also, it's well known that they not doubled down, but they put a lot of money, invested a lot of money back into the business.
More than anybody else, probably.
So they did have a $1.2 billion expansion that was just completed.
Billion with a B.
Yeah, with a B. And it increased their capacity to produce 150%. So I think the knock I have on their products is that basically everything they have is allocated.
Everything.
It doesn't matter. Their standard offer, Buffalo Trace, is allocated. And so I think they're getting to the point where I don't think it's going to be that way. Buffalo Trace is not allocated anymore. You can find it.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're too far off from where we see some of those other ones, the Weller and the Special Reserve, where it's back on the shelves.
How is it allocated? Anyway, it's one of the largest distilleries in the world, but I don't know. I think they kind of play a little bit of games. But you're right. I think this 1.2 billion expansion just being completed, probably seeing a lot come online. And it says the expansion can increase capacity 150%.
150%.
Yeah.
They added like 14 rick houses, like not just your small rick houses, your 40,000 barrel rick houses. Yeah. So they have the capacity to hold a lot more. So they're going to be producing a lot over the next 10 years. And needing to sell it. So I think they got to keep the excitement going, and I think that's really what it's all about. Or are they scared?
Yeah.
And they're thinking, let's get everything we got out the
Yeah.
door
Yeah.
while we can.
Yeah.
And then if the boom does hit and people quit buying,
Yeah.
at least we made that money because we ran through that. I don't. Maybe that's small mind thinking because what they sell at the gift shop probably not too much in comparison to what their overall numbers are.
Sure. And they don't charge for their tours, so it's not that thing either.
Right.
Now, I guess this does beg the question: if all this stuff becomes available, do you think it becomes as sought after, or is it just people wanting what others can't get?
To an extent, I think yes. That's why they've done that. That's why it's the allure of I got to buy that Blanton's because I may not see it for another 6 months or whatever product it is. And if you see it every week, you're probably not going to be that apt to do that.
I can always get that.
Right. I'm not going to buy it in addition to, but if I mean, we like Buffalo Trace products. We like how they taste.
Yes.
And if I can consistently get a Eagle or an E.H. Taylor or an Eagle Rare and just know I can get that weekly, I'm gonna buy Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
Now I don't like it at $50.
Sure.
I liked Eagle Rare a lot more when it was like $30.
That's another thing. E.H. Taylor, I'm glad you mentioned that one too. Small batch. I don't know what's going on with that because for the longest time it was $45 at the distillery gift shop. Mm-hmm. Then this fall it increased to $51.99. And then somebody posted in the Buffalo Trace Daily group the other day that it has gone up to $59.99. So I don't know if the tubes are getting more expensive to produce, but don't give us a tube.
Right.
Yeah. Just give us the bottle and charge us whatever amount less.
Right. Well, like Blanton, sometimes you get them in this nice little bag, and sometimes you get them in a box. Sometimes you don't get any of them.
You know, whenever they ship these to liquor stores, 3 of them, a case, 3 of them will come with a little guard on this, just like this. And then the other 3 will come in a box with this bag.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Weird, yeah.
It's very weird. Because this is going to be at our event, the Bourbon Pour donated by Vicks. Whenever I asked Keith, said, "Hey, Blanton's will bring in some money. Can we get a Blanton's?" He goes, "Oh yeah, make sure you go back and get one in a box." So okay, yeah. But so a lot of weird things going on with Buffalo Trace. I'm glad you mentioned all that stuff with the expansion because that's probably a lot to it. Maybe we're seeing that come to fruition.
And they added, throughout the process, they added 200 jobs. I know
that's cool.
Here recently, we've heard of a lot of places that are downsizing. Mm-hmm. I hope those jobs don't get taken away in that in this little lull. I don't think we're going through a major. It is something major just because it's obviously the market's telling us that there's a change happening. Mm-hmm. But hopefully they can hold on to their people and because that's what I think bourbon is all about. It's traditions. Yeah. It's doing things the old-fashioned way. Yeah. And you have to have people to do that.
Sure.
You can take a bottling line and make it to where there's not a person needed, but who wants that? Yeah. I want to go to the distillery and watch people dipping stuff. And
You should. Next time you do that, you ought to capture that on video and see what happens. But I agree. I mean, you definitely want to things by hand. There's like this sort of poetic thing about making whiskey.
When you go to Buffalo Trace, where they make Blanton's, and Elmer, I think what else do they run through there? But it's all done by hand.
Yeah, writing this down.
Everything is done by hand. But I know with the Blanton's, I don't want to. I guess I shouldn't say it's the Elmer TV because obviously that's a label. Yeah. But I think it is the Blanton's.
Yeah, these are like handwritten. The labels are applied by hand and they're written.
And it's basically those guys that got their years of service in, and they get to go in there and work on the primo line. So
cool. They wouldn't want me to do that. My handwriting would be too bad.
Yeah. I could put a label on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably screw that up too. So interesting topic. Let us know your thoughts. Do you keep track of this stuff with Buffalo Trace or not? I know that Buffalo Trace Daily always pops up in my Facebook feed, and I'm always like, dang, we're only we're only like 2 hours from there. But I'm telling you, if I would have known that CYPB was going to be available, I would have left work and hopped in the car and went down.
As soon as the picture showed up.
Yeah. I'm a Weller fan. I like Weller. That's my favorite product, Buffalo Trace.
It sold out within like 15 minutes of posting, which I'm sure they were already in line, and then just somebody took a picture and then it's gone.
What are your favorite products from Buffalo Trace that you gravitate towards? I'll share mine.
I know I don't want to steal one of yours. I know what.
No, I know you.
I like the antique, the 107, the foolproof. I'm a Blanton's fan. I don't want to just. It's just a good tasting bourbon.
Right.
I don't like to overspend for it.
Right.
But for what you get for, if you get it for $68, $70, what you can get it for, it's a beautiful bottle.
Yeah.
Tastes good.
Yeah.
And it has everything you could look one in a bourbon.
Yeah. I like anything from the Weller line. Pretty much. I haven't had CYPB or single barrel, but anything Weller, and then the Stag.
Yeah,
not George T. Stag, because
I do like the Stags.
The Stag, I'm not like, if you've watched us before, I like high proof, but I tend to try to keep it a little bit on the lower side. And Stag is one that if I see it at MSRP, it's coming with me because
it packs a punch, but then you also get a
flavors,
tasting
insane
flavors.
good.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, let us know in the comments below. Are you noticing this stuff with Buffalo Trace, and what are your favorite Buffalo Trace products? But we're going to end this episode the same way that we always do, and that is when you're with your family and your friends, always share your whiskey.